And Chill Piers.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
How's it going?
Good morning, everyone. This is
Warm.
episode 209. And Chill was running a bit late, so we're a bit late starting. I'll just tweet out that we're rolling. So, Chill, we are live. So don't
Yeah,
say
I see that. I'll get the stream going first thing I can.
Alright, that's cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Nice. This is why I
As you
don't
can
like
see,
Google.
We've got lots of people on this week. We have May and Zam, Rachel, and Jeremy. Dark as
Lovely.
black. So May's first time on OotiniCast.
Yeah.
Ootini.
Alright, so I'll insert in the usual warning. This is the raw version of the show. So all the fluff, we're going to fuck up and swear and all kinds of stuff. Usually don't, and it won't appear in the online edited version, MP3. But in this version, you get it all, warts and all.
Stream is going. I still have a
Alright.
things to do though. Let's see. Where's the bloody... There it is.
Where's that coming from? Is that mine? Shit,
Test.
Yeah,
Okay,
left.
Audacity was working fine.
Right. Sorry, Twitch just started playing something in the background. Okay, so we may as well start recording. So could everyone hit record, please? And the only rule is never stop. No matter what happens, just keep it recording until we're done.
Okay, I'll put it really far away on the other
You're
window.
muted.
Test. Alright, and I put it on studio, so hopefully it won't mess around with my mic.
My fault. One sec. How's that?
Hang on, Twitch folks, I'll get this picture back in a moment.
Alright.
Test.
Test.
Test, or no? I'm still muted.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually recording off the wrong device. Oops.
You sound much better too.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, probably recording with my webcam, which is over there. So, yep. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Right, where were we? We lost May.
Okay.
Okay, Chill, are you recording?
Yes, I'm recording Audacity, and I've got the stream going. Doing this all as fast as I can.
That's fine.
Got the notes up.
Okay.
I need to get the OotiniCast.com live version.
We've got our two cats here, but they are trapped behind that door. Actually, they're keeping Safari company, so that's okay.
All right.
All right. Jeremy, are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Okay. May, you're recording? Hit record.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
It's recording.
And Rachel, you are going?
Yes, I am recording.
Okay, and Chill you are recording.
I am indeed.
I'd better make sure I am as well. So set up to go. Chill, did you change your Hangout to Studio?
Studio, yes I have.
Alright, I'll do the same.
Yeah, if anyone has their mic levels going way up and way down, you can fix that by changing the audio option in the Hangout from voice to studio. Alright.
Galactic Gamers Coalition. Alright, and that plug that we talked about you doing, Chill, like I said, please, please give
I'm doing
a
it right at the beginning of my week.
Actually, could you do it down in community?
Oh, sure. I can move it.
Okay. Maze Cat is pretty famous, as Nathan said.
Community, where is it?
She,
It pops up a lot on
I tried to
Instagram for
lock
some
her
reason.
out. I do like my cat. He's pretty cute and fluffy.
Yes. All right, chill.
Is it? Yeah, I'm trying to... Wow, there's a lot of news.
Yeah, a
at
lot of
least
that
it-
we'll skip over because we covered already. But
Okay. Oh, already there. All right.
sorry, Jeremy. We're going. Don't get impatient.
I'm not, mate. I'm setting something else up. Your Patreon, what is it? I don't know, whatever it's called.
Patreon.
That's him.
Patreon. Yeah. What about it?
You need $100, right, or $95
Per episode. Yep.
per
But that's got to
episode.
be consistent. So
But
don't-
you don't need a consistent $100 per episode for your thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just need it.
You can't just sign up, get the documentary, and then quit. It doesn't work like that.
What? Come on, surely.
You can't
Go
game
back
our
20
Patreon.
bucks,
Give me the Patreon.
Look, if people do give us large amounts, we are certainly amortizing it. So it's as if they were patrons, but it's a complex calculation. I probably should have used a spreadsheet. But anyway. All right, are we ready to go?
Yes.
Because we are. What's the time? Yes, we.
All right. I'll
Missed
get
that.
I'll get rolling in 5 seconds.
Oh, yep.
Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. Hate leads to podcasting. This is episode 209, being recorded on Tuesday, June 9th, 2015. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey guys.
And we've got some new guests today, so as well as some returning. So, first of all, we've got May, we've got Zamzam, and Jeremy, aka Darksplat. And we'll start with you, May. So, first of all, how you been? Oh, you're muted. Somehow you're muted.
I'm good,
There
Joe.
you go.
Professional.
Yeah, technology is hard for me sometimes. So.
All right. So, have you been streaming much lately?
I've been streaming a little bit, mostly just raiding, kind of doing the raid grind, and a lot of Monolith is basically, that's all I do on SWTOR, I feel like, is do that World Break or Monolith boss. So, main hands, those main hands are important.
How have you
Yes, sir.
found it, May, after 3.2.1 where they made it harder? Is it too hard or easy enough for a good group?
I think it's easy enough for a good group. It takes us about sometimes like 2 to 3 pulls to finally clear it, and it's a really long fight, so that it always is like you get to the end, and we always wipe in the last 1% because we're trying to engineer the main hands that drop. So like everyone who's not a merc or something will leave, so we can get a certain main hand to drop,
Ooh.
and then too many people will leave and the boss won't die. So we'll have to do it all over again, but. It's doable for sure, but it requires a lot of healing, so you need a really competent healer and DPS not to make mistakes.
Are you running
Right.
3 healers or are you doing 16-man?
No, I'm doing 8-man hard mode with 2 healers, 2 tanks, and 4 DPS, just kind of
Right.
like the standard regular strat,
Okay.
all the mechanics.
Showing it can be done. Very nice.
What gear is that though? Is May? What gear?
We're all in 198 BIS for the most part. I'm not. I didn't exploit, so I don't have a 198 chest. But most everybody in the group is 198 basically full,
Okay.
and our raid group is 10 out of 10. So we're
Nice.
we're a progression guild, so maybe that has something to do with it. It's not
Most
easy.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're debating whether it's even possible for us.
Really.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
kind of average.
There's an RNG aspect to it. If he does the rift mechanic and he's standing on one of those rifts, it's almost unhealable. I have to pop a clicky relic and an adrenal and everything. It actually takes a lot of healing to get through that phase if it's standing on one of those rifts.
Are you 3 healing it, or do you
No,
do you 2
she said
heal
she
it?
was.
Just two.
Just the 2? Okay.
Yeah. But both of us, we're both doing at least 4.5k effective is what the healing is. So.
Nice. All right. Zamzam, so how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Jill.
Yeah, welcome back. Still doing
Thanks.
PvP, I trust?
Of course. I have been doing quite a bit of PvP this week. I was grouped with a couple of guildies and was smashing regs, so it was a lot of fun. Per usual.
Awesome.
I even came across someone in your guild. I don't know who they were, but I shouted Utini when I saw them. But yeah,
Were they on the other
Awesome.
side? And
they were they're an Imperial operative. Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure who it was. Yeah.
Did you win that match and did they lose?
Yeah, I smashed them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we do have folks on both sides, so you'll.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah.
And let's see. So, and what else have you been doing in game?
Not much really. I've been going into making more credits because I want the Yavin Stronghold. So, selling stuff on the GTN, doing slicing runs on Yavin, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's going to be expensive, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm only like I've got most everything unlocked except part of Tatooine, and it's really painful to spend like 1 million credits out there and get like one little room off on the side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking for. I like the Yavin one though, so I might have to find a way, but it'll be a
looks
while.
good, yeah.
Especially since the slot machines are opening up too. So many credit sinks all of a sudden. All right, now Jeremy, aka Darksplat. So nice to have you on the show. So you are doing some raiding, I understand.
Yes, we've been, well, as progression guilds that we are in, both Eucopolis now and Warchild. I was fortunate enough to get the commanders down in Warchild on, what are we? What's today? Wednesday? So Monday. It was really good.
Excellent.
One of those, thank you, one of those eureka moments. It took us 3 nights, which is quite extraordinary for us. Normally we spend about 4 or 5 weeks on a boss. Except for Underlurker, that's 2 months worth. But yeah, it was really good.
That's excellent. And anything else this week?
No, not really. Just been busy, just raiding on both sides. Yeah, just taking a lot of time. Done some leveling on my second account. Got both of my other mercs up to 60, so that's all cool.
Wow. Excellent. Very good. And Tio, how about your week?
Yeah, well, I didn't actually seem to do much at all this past week for various reasons. We didn't raid because we had so many out. We should be back to it only one day this week, the second day, but we'll be back raiding again. What Ari and I have been doing was the MCR99 Droid Reconnaissance achievement. We have to go to each planet and just use macro to scan the droid, so we're just working our way through that. You have to do it on the same character if you want to get the droid mini pet, apparently, because it's kind of bugged. But to get the achievement, it doesn't matter. But to get the mini pet, so we're just doing that and working our way through them. And the other thing that took up a lot of time this week was planning for and recording the Galactic Gamers Coalition number 6, now hosted this week by OotiniCast. So Chill was the host, I was on it, and we had various members of the podcasting community. So the way that works now is the hosting show is going to change, show to show, and this time it was us, next time it'll be Beyond the Stars. And yeah, I've finished editing. That took far longer than I probably should have, and I should be posting that today. We had to wait for the feed to update because it has moved from ToroCast across to galacticgamerscoalition.com, which we've set up to be specific to that show.
Very nice.
So that should go out today. Wow. So yeah, all these things keeping me busy and not playing the game, which is a bit unfortunate. But anyway, yeah, the whole podcasting thing seems to take up more time than the game. which is a little ironic when you think about it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Maybe that's why you appreciate the game so much, though, because you don't have to play it as often.
Could be. It could be. So there's your solution if you're feeling a bit burned out. Start a podcast. Anyway, that's my week. Over to you, Chell.
Okay. First, a shout out to the chat room. Ari is here, Andrew Mick is here, Darth Brundlefly, Fim, Jazzy Cat, Maybe Buzz, Mark_Swotor, Nepthan, Beware2, Dark Splat, Lido, Palace, Zamzam is in the chat room. Let's see, and on the twitch.tv/OotiniCast, Chims, Duragi, Eternal Abyss, 73, Fascinate Arbinger, G_Land, and Shaxa are all here. So hello, everyone. What I do this week, I think the most interesting thing I probably did was this. I went back to streaming on Chill Echo, which is the Whispers of the Force character, and also did some PvP on her. Pretty fun, actually, but since I'm just over level 30, I was getting pwned pretty hard in the war zone, so it got a little ugly. I'll probably hold off until I'm mid-40s or something like that before I go back to the war zones, but it was still fun. Yeah, and dot spec is interesting. Pretty good damage, and you can spread damage around, and there's some interesting utility and stuff. And it'll get better when it gets higher levels. It's quite a bit of ramp up time, which is pretty rough. So I can see why people do go with the sneaky instead, because you start bursting right from the first hit. So still like it though. And let's see. Also, I found out that the SWTOR UI that I uploaded not too long ago was approved, or whatever process they go through, and it is showing up there. So I've got a link in the show notes, and so if you want to know the UI that I use, it's actually up there. Pretty much use that on all of my characters. I try not to actually change from character to character, just because I like to be able to, from habit, know exactly where to look for everything. So I try to change it as little as possible. And let's see, I was also queried about how my Nostromo is set up, and the UI sort of that goes along with it. So I have a couple pictures here. A couple quick points to note. Basically, I use the bottom left two buttons, the 11 and 12 buttons, as Control and Alt, which you can actually do in Nostromo to set up various key combinations. So you can treat it just like a control key on your keyboard, or the Alt on your keyboard. I also have the Shift over on button 15, which is the one right above the thumb joystick, and that way I can set up just several dozen key combinations, just even with only one of those, and then I have a couple of double Control and Alt or Control and Shift, that sort of thing, mostly for things that aren't quite as combat right up to the second sort of needed. But yeah, and then I've just a little bit part of my UI there. Looks a little stretched out, but because of what I did to the picture. But you can see how basically it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just goes right across, because you can set up the Nostromo any way you want. And then the only thing, it's really all about setting up the Nostromo so that you have your Control and your Alt in a good spot for you. And yeah, and then it's just the combinations. I do have Control and a Shift plus my middle mouse key buttons as well on that the right of that middle bar, and I use that for taunts, and it's like a cleanse if it's a healer, it's a taunt if it's a tank, and it's like a whatever sort of debuff without damage that I have on a DPS. So that's kind of how I work that. So yeah.
So while we're talking about this, I personally just use mouse and keyboard. But what about the other guys? So Jeremy, what do you use?
I use the Logitech MG or G600 mouse and what is this? The G19S keyboard. I set it up originally to be more sort of programmable, but I just found myself just going back to a standard 1 to 10 sort of thing and going that way. It's interesting that you use this one, Chill, because I have a friend in Ewoks who uses this as well, and he swears by it. But
the Nostromo, you mean?
Yeah. He said it took him 6 months to get used to it, but once he got used to it, it was awesome.
Yeah, it basically it feels more like a keyboard than it does anything else. And since I'm a touch typist already and have been for a long time, it was pretty easy for me to get a hold of. It's also very comfortable. You can see the wrist rest on the picture of it, and there's I don't use the thumb joystick a lot. I do have it set up for movement if I really need it, but I've got like multiple other ways to move actually. So, and then I use the rollers for the one on my mouse and then the one on the Nostromo for tab targeting, basically.
Is there a version that works with the other hand? So for left-handers?
I think there is. Yes.
All right. Okay.
I even though I'm left-handed, I mouse with my right hand.
Yeah.
And I always have. So that's
Never
what I'm used to.
understand that.
Yeah.
What about you, May?
I
What do
just
you
want
use?
to get trained, I suppose.
I have a Naga that I use, and then I also have a Merc Stealth SteelSeries keyboard. So it has like the regular standard keyboard, and then on the left of it, there's like a gamepad. So it's got 1 through 11 like on top of each other. So it's like 1 through 7, and then 8 through 11 on top of it, and then a bunch of letter keys also. So like P is right by my space bar. You basically have a whole other half a keyboard that you just use as kind of your
Right.
play pad.
Okay.
It's like a mini Nostromo built in
Yeah.
almost. That's
Yeah,
kinda
it
cool.
really is.
And Rach, what about you?
I also have a Logitech G600 mouse I've been using for a couple of years, and I love it to pieces. It's great. Otherwise, I just have a normal laptop keyboard. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for indulging me. I was just curious.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I have a very very straightforward 5-button mouse and a keyboard that's so cheap. I think I got it free in a box of Cracker Jack. So
What about you, Tio?
No, just a straight mouse and a regular G105 Logitech keyboard, but nothing fancy. It's pretty standard.
you were trying out some of the fancier mice though earlier.
Yeah. No, I just went back to a fairly basic Logitech gaming mouse. It's got a few extra buttons, but not the full-on. I've got a left-handed Naga as well, but I just prefer the simpler mouse.
All
Could
right,
never get
awesome.
used to all those thumb buttons.
That's kind of the point. So
Yeah.
if you're not getting used to it, there's not a whole lot of reason to use it.
Yeah.
I used the training stickers. They like when you get the Naga, it gives you those little like clear plastic training stickers, and you put them on the thumb one so you can like
Oh,
it's
wow.
more defined and you can like find it with your thumb easier. But I used that for like 3 months to really get used to using the thumb.
I
that
must have got the
much.
poverty pack version because my Naga did not have any fancy stickers or anything like that. Oh well.
All right, awesome. That will bring us to the tip of the week. We have 4 of them this time. I'll go ahead and start us off. As Zally wrote, my tip is in the Yavin dailies. If you do them in a group of 4, you will receive a total of 20,000 credits on average for doing each bonus.
Wow. Can't remember the last time I did the Yavin dailies, but and finding 3 other people to do them might be a challenge. But cool.
I'm only doing them now for the companion gear. That's the reason I'm doing them.
Yeah, and you only do them once for that
Yeah.
per companion.
Yeah.
All right.
And a sweet amount, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Our second tip is from Joe, also known as Dark Edge Gaming on Twitch. He says, with all speeder points being automatically unlocked now, a good tip when beginning a new planet is to fly to the farthest away speeder point when you first land on the planet to unlock all of the quick travel points, since they only unlock via proximity. That is, you have to be fairly close to them for them to unlock. Having all the quick travel points from planet start will speed up your leveling and drastically cut down on driving time, making the world smaller places. I've got to say, when we were doing the reconnaissance droid stuff, the fact that your quick travel is 0 cooldown now means why would you ever take a speeder? It's like, unless for some reason you don't have the quick travel points, but
Right.
then you do the speeder
Well-
trick, and then you do.
When I was leveling on Hoth, this tip would have been awesome. So I could have just driven all the way to the end instead
Yeah.
of having to go to each individual thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's actually, I think Hoth would be in a particularly big good planet for that.
That's true, actually. A
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
Oh, and Belsavis, for that matter.
You're not really sticking on bell service for that long though. You should be, 47 by that time to go to the cab. If you're just doing leveling to get to 60.
Yeah, otherwise, but Saturdays is a big place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. And Fim in the chat room saying there's a few that won't even open on proximity and that you have to click on. For example, there's one on Ilum.
Oh, so it's broken?
A couple of them might be broken.
All right.
For the most part, though, yeah, they unlock even if you're pretty far away. Like there's that one that doesn't even on Terrace that doesn't even have a taxi point there on the Empire side. It's just a quick travel point.
Yep.
And yet I somehow got close enough to it via the actual, just by getting fairly close. Like I think I landed at the next nearest taxi point, and it was like it had somehow already opened up, and it's like that seemed way further than average for that sort of unlock, but somehow I was able to get to it anyway. Right. Maybe it unlocked when I got a little closer, but anyway. Third tip from Nero. If your 8-man is downing the first few hard mode bosses, run the Zyos boss in 16-man story mode for extra loot.
Now, is that still 192s? Or what do you actually get from... It should be.
You do get a chance. No, you get a chance of one token of 198. It could be anything, though.
Okay. Could be.
A chance.
Yeah, okay.
A chance.
So, good tip if you got the people to do it, I guess. Long ass fight, but yeah. All right.
16-man hard mode isn't that hard either. It's definitely more doable than 8 because you can like bring extra healers, and you don't need as many tanks. You can kind of like fill with DPS. So it's pretty nice to do the 16. It's definitely more doable than 8.
No,
for hard mode.
Yeah.
Hard mode.
Okay.
Cool. Maybe we should pull a group together with some of the rioters on our Saturday morning. Okay. Our last tip is from Death Star Down Under. And he says, this is my tip of the week based upon current dev clarifications around Warzone comms. It appears they are planning a 1-to-1 conversion of ranked comms to normal Warzone comms with Game Update 3.3. This means if you are buying ranked comms at the current ratio of 3-to-1, that is, you cost 3 regular Warzone comms to get 1 ranked Warzone comm, you are wasting 2/3 of your effective currency. Consider buying items with normal Warzone commendations. Jeremy, could you stop typing? I can't see it. Thank you. Consider buying items with normal Warzone commendations that you can refund at a later stage rather than converting them to ranked comms. Now, we do have a news item about that. So, yeah.
Sorry.
We'll get to that. That said, Alex Monty did mention they're trying to raise the cap for normal Warzone comms, but until that point, my tip is don't buy ranked Warzone comms. So, yeah, it seems ways around it aren't so great anymore, but and we'll explain why. But yeah, he's right. Buying ranked comms right now is a waste of time, a waste of Warzone comms.
Yeah. So at the very least, just max out as much as you can rather than actually converting at this point.
Yeah.
All right. By random allotment, the winner is Death Star Down Under. Congratulations. You're the winner of a Tonfon or M8R3 Droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the Holo feed. Tio?
Alright, we'll start with the nightlife event. Is actually live. Yeah, last week I actually said it was live. I screwed it up, but this week it is actually live. It will be here for 11 weeks and will finish August 25th. So from early reports, the prizes on offer that you can get from the vendor for the golden certificates remains the same as last time. Someone did say the Rancor was a different colour, but I haven't heard any confirmation of that. No. Okay, so no change, same stuff.
Okay.
It does seem odd that they couldn't add something, at least. I mean, it's been a year, so...
Sparkle powder.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're, as we've heard, they're in the game, so somewhere.
Yep.
We'll have to switch them on. All those different colours of sparkle powder.
Right. Well, there is some fun gear, so if you didn't get it last time, there's like some nice smuggler gear, especially if you like the Han Solo gun.
The Blast
and
Tech
like
Blaster,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's good.
Yeah. Yep. All right, next we've got a new Cutter pack. This is the latest in shipment 7, the Explorers packs. This one is the Mid-Rim Explorers packs. You can see previews in the usual places such as Dolphy. Is there one on Talk Community? Do you guys preview the pack as well?
There is a
Yes,
Talk
there
Community
is.
one, yes.
Okay, so on Talk Community
Cool.
as well. You can get it for the usual price as well, 250 Cutter coins for the Explorers pack, 5,400 Cutter coins for the Hyper Crate. It includes a bunch of stuff. Nothing really stood out for me. There's another Rancor, the Ridge Hunter Rancor, super rare. It's a Rancor, so
Sort of dark gray.
Of course,
yeah.
if you want to get the one from the cartel, from the Nightlife event, it's possible. We've all done it. Just will take a lot of machining and credits, probably.
Yep, most likely.
Now, this mid-rim pack also includes the Platinum pack, which is what they've been doing. They've changed a bit, though. They're refining the contents of the Platinum pack based on your feedback. So they're tightening the pack contents into a more select list featuring the pack's strongest offerings, such as, in this case, pieces of the Primeval Stalker's armor set, commemorative statue of Revan, which does look kind of awesome, and the Ridge Hunter Rancor, and more. So you get all of the you'll get the 24 Cutter packs as well as a Platinum pack.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Something else I won't be spending my cartel coins on, but I know lots of people do. So whatever.
Well, hopefully this means Kranatoko will be doing a video pretty soon.
Absolutely. All right. Next in the news, mobile security key now using OAuth. What the hell is OAuth, you may ask? So unless you're into this kind of thing, it's an open authentication standard, and it means that rather than having to use the SWTOR security key, you can now use any authenticator app that supports OAuth, which is a lot of them, including the Google Authenticator. There's also one for Windows called WinAuth, and a few others as well. Now,
Oh, slick. Nice.
it is. So the reason I paid attention to this, there was a post about this that talked about if you're getting the mobile security key, they're temporarily unavailable as we make some changes on the back end. The back end was this changed to support OAuth. It meant they upgraded their mobile security key app, and as Ari discovered when she had to reinstall it on her Android, she's got a Samsung phone, and then I discovered when I tried to replicate it on my Nexus 5, the current security key won't install. It says it's incompatible with our Android 5 point whatever version that we're running at the moment, which is crap because it really should have worked. Yeah.
So my advice would be to get an iOS device, Tio. Stop being on this Android thing. Go Apple, mate. You'll be heaps happier.
Why the hell would I waste my money on that? Nothing wrong with iPhones, etc., but I'm not going to go down that road.
Are you currently able to get into the game?
Oh, of course. So, firstly, a reminder that if you do lose your security key, it is really easy to remove it. You don't have to call support. You can just do it all through the website. That's one. So that's what we did, remove the security key. In fact, that's what I did. I just did it the old-fashioned way, removed the key. I couldn't re-update the app. I deinstalled it, tried to reinstall it. It didn't work. So,
Right. Don't you need don't you need the authenticator to get into your account on the website, though?
No.
It always
that's the
asks
whole
me
point.
for one.
Yeah, but there is a way around it. In fact,
see.
so the way you do it, just in case you were wondering, if you go into the website, you try to log in. If you don't have your security key, you just leave it blank. It will then ask you for the code, authenticator code on the website. There's a lost your security key link just below that. Click on that, and you can go through the process to recover it. It will send you a one-time password to your email address, and that's how you remove it. Really easy.
Easy
so
enough.
you don't need the key. So second thing, if you don't have an authenticator on your account, the one-time password system is actually really cool and works perfectly. You don't have to get emailed a code and enter it every time. It will remember. So your account is pretty much secure. But you are missing out on your 100 cartel coins per month if you don't have an authenticator on your account,
True.
which you will get for free if you have the authenticator. So anyway, what we've subsequently discovered, someone pointed out on Reddit, it hasn't made it as official news yet, which is a little weird. Maybe they're waiting for something, but anyway, it all works. You can set it up now using Google Authenticator, which is what I've done. So,
Slick.
Yep, don't need the security key anymore. You can use any authenticator. Google Authenticator you can use to secure your Gmail, your Google account, and you can use the same app for any of the various sites out there that supports OAuth, two-factor authentication. So, anyway,
Cool.
Bottom line, you don't need a security key. You can use anything really. So, they will update the security key, so it will work on latest Android devices. Who knows what went wrong, but in the meantime, you don't need it at all. So, all right, moving on. So, Yavin 4 Stronghold and Togruta live stream, which I sort of watched and actually kind of skipped through. No, I did watch the whole thing. I found it somewhat uninspiring because all they were talking about was the Togruta and the new Stronghold. But some points and Tor Community and Dolphy both have write-ups. May did the one for torcommunity.com.
Nice.
So, quick summary. The biggest news was Game Update 3.3 with all the PTS changes and the healing changes will be on live servers on 21st July. So that's what they're targeting. They may slip it, obviously, so 21 July for that. Game Update 3.2.2 will come out at some point. I don't think they've told us when. That'll be just patch release. They confirmed that combat dummies are coming for Strongholds, but there are some technical issues. And Musco confirmed that on July 15, which is the day before E3, pay attention to the internet, specifically the EA press conference, which will be between 1 and 2 p.m. Pacific time, Monday, July 15, which is Tuesday morning for us, 6 to 7 a.m. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may go in late into work that day and actually watch it live for that 2 minutes of SWOTOR among all the other EA news.
You know that's going to be at the end, don't you?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Great.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be other sports crap and FIFA something.
FIFA? What's
Whatever.
FIFA?
I don't know. Soccer? No? Whatever. Or football, as the Euros would say. Now, as far as the actual live stream itself goes, yep, you got the Togruta. They only had the females being shown because they're actively working on it now. Looks kind of cool if you're into Togruta. Now, we sort of talked about this on the Galactic Games Coalition. My opinion is prefer Nautilans. I don't think I'll waste my credits. I haven't even got a Cathar yet. What do the rest of you think? So, of the Stronghold, which is actually kind of awesome and has huge and has lots of hooks, blah, blah, blah. Before we go, the other thing to note is that you will not have access to 5 Strongholds. You will only still have 4. So to get Yavin 4, you will have to deactivate one of your 4 if you have all 4 unlocked. Apparently Coruscant really is unpopular generally, and that's the one people seem to be targeting as the one they'll get rid of.
I see you nodding. So,
That's the one I'm getting rid of.
is there anything else about the live stream, since you did the write-up and everything? Is there anything else that really stood out to you?
The secret waterfall. They did hint a couple times that there might or might not be a secret waterfall cave behind one of the waterfalls, and rumor has it that there is in fact a file that's titled Secret Cave. So we'll see whether there will be hooks in there. That'd be kind of nice if you could have like a secret cave with just like a few hooks to maybe put up something like a picture of Katniss or something. But
yeah, that sounds very RP. You know, you could see like Sith putting up, you know, a secret artifact or something like that.
A holocron back there or something. I'm really excited for the Stronghold. I'll definitely buy it.
Okay.
It's very pretty, yeah, and it's pretty impressive. Especially, yeah, I can see, then you compare it to the basic one, the Coruscant one, and it's like, wow, it's like so much bigger and more impressive. But
But any credits you sunk into it will be lost if you do deactivate Coruscant. And apparently, if you reactivate it,
reactivate.
yes, but
Right.
you have to pay the original cost, which is actually not much at all. So,
right,
if you then deactivate your Yavin 4, which costs you the expense, it will be very expensive, up there with Tatooine, in terms of unlocking Yavin 4.
right.
So once you get it, you probably won't go back.
That's
All right,
true.
Decisions.
Jeremy, what about you? Togruta or Yavin 4? Any thoughts?
Yavin 4, I think. I'll still get to Garuda, but probably not as fast as what I got the Cantha. But I think Yavin will be, because it's more beneficial for more bonuses and stuff like that.
Okay.
Right. How about you, Zamzam?
I've been looking forward to the Togruta, actually. I've been wanting one for a long time. I've been waiting to make a Togruta gunslinger, so I'm looking forward to seeing the customizations and how they turn out. So, yeah. And I will, of course, be buying the Yavin Stronghold. So,
All right.
yeah. At the moment, I'm thinking of deactivating my Tatooine Stronghold because that's the one I've put the least work into. I'd just bought it and never unlocked any of the rooms, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an impressive one, but yeah, if you haven't actually done anything, then yeah, there's not a whole lot of
Yeah.
point.
I've
Any
put far
fun-
too much work into all my other ones, so I'm not willing to deactivate my Coruscant one, for example.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, Jill, what about you?
I'm of two minds about the Togruta. I like the Togruta fine. I would probably make them, except I'm really I basically have very little in the way of character slots at this point on Harbinger, so I'm not sure what I would do with it. It's possible that I might delete I have one more character that's sort of like low to mid level that I could probably delete, and then maybe I would get the Togruta just for that. But we'll see. I like the Yavin one, but holy cow, I don't have a lot of credits at the moment, so I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to afford it for a little.
Could always
for a
do it
while.
with cartel coins. Sink a bit
Yeah.
more money into the game.
Right. Yeah, at this point it would have to be some actual money. I'm fairly low on cartel coins at the moment. So I unlocked some slots among all my characters for the costumes and a few other details, and yeah, I have fewer cartel coins than I've had for quite a while. So yeah, we'll
Could
see.
you do? Could you do the unlock on a different server and still have your fibers as such? Is that possible? Or it's a maximum of 4 across everything. You know what I mean? So if you have your 4 on Harbinger,
No,
and you go
they
to
are.
Bastion,
They're server specific.
They are
So
service,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
so you can
Oh,
then
that's a
go
good
to
question.
Bastion and go, boom, put it on that one instead. Then you don't
Right.
have to deactivate.
Yeah, if you're thinking of doing a server transfer, you'd want to get the unlock first and then move over.
That's quite interesting how that would all work, actually.
Yeah, there's
All right. Next in the news, let's move on. Game update 3.3 with all these, which will have lots of this, is currently on the PTS. It just went live at the end of last week. The Yavin 4 Stronghold isn't open yet, apparently, even though you can actually buy it. So if you do that, you'll just lose your credits. So be aware. Hopefully it won't be too many builds before it's up. What they are featuring, though, are the PvP changes. They are live, as well as the first round of class changes. And these class changes are all the healing class changes that were going to be in 3.2.1, but were deferred when the internet melted down or something and everyone got upset and it was just too hard. But they have revisited, they have listened to the community, they have made things better, but we'll get to that. Firstly, something that occurred to us, I think it was on the last show, we were wondering whether these changes to PvP, which have the end goal of trying to improve queue times, particularly for ranked PvP, is this the better than cross-server solution? Or better, the big improvement solution? So I just went back to the original post from Eric Musco at the end of last year, and no. What they were thinking of when they were having a strategy for making things better was certainly something which sounded a lot more like server merges or cross-server or something like that. So I remain hopeful that whatever that real solution is for improving queue times is still out there. And
Right.
it isn't the changes they're making now, though they're obviously hoping that this will help overall get people into PvP. Now, we have already gone through those changes. Also mention Utini War Room Deployment 7 will be published Tuesday US time. And for those of you watching, I have all the files now. Turg has edited it. I'm about to publish it, so it will be out later today. I'll actually publish it before I edit this show. Yep, so Snave, Busy, and Turg actually talk through these changes and what they think the impact will be, so that should be interesting.
Zamzam, how about you? What do you think of the changes? Do you think they will help with the PvP community?
I reckon it will. Probably the more casual PvPers will get into it a bit more, because a lot of people complain about the gear grind that are more casual. I personally don't have an issue with it, but I know other chill does, I can tell, and I have
Yes.
guildies that don't like the gear grind as well, so they're happy with these changes. So yeah, it will help a little bit, but yeah, I don't think it'll be a massive increase or anything like that.
All right. And May, how about you? What do you think about these changes?
I agree with Sam. I think that as far as regs are concerned, there'll be a lot more people in regs. It'll be more, approachable for people. And I think that people will definitely try out ranked, but I think that there's still too much of kind of a play gap or an ability and skill gap between, the top tier of players that are competitive and everybody else. And I'm part of everyone else in a lot of ways. So you even if you have the best BIS gear, that doesn't mean that you're going to survive any longer than one global sometimes in a ranked war zone. So it may not. I don't know how it's going to affect actuals like solo ranked and group ranked queue times.
Okay.
Fair enough. And Jeremy, do you have any thoughts?
I haven't played Season 4 or Season 5 just purely because of the extra gear grind. When I did PvP in Season 3, I actually leveled a character specifically to that gear grind. So, you save up your weapons from 40 onwards, then convert them all at 55 to get that gear when you wanted to do the end game. So I think this will be a huge benefit to get rid of that barrier from a lot of people. And hopefully it will encourage people to be, once they get the gear, to go into ranked. And, for us Aussies, be able to get a pop in the evening, which is in the morning time for you guys.
Right.
So it's important for us as well.
That makes sense. Yeah, I certainly anticipate that I will be doing more PvP for this, because when I get to a character up to 60 and then I look, should I jump into war zones, get them geared up? Well, it takes so darn long. It's so many games with horrible gear that you just get wiped. And then it's like, well, do I do that or do I want to start a new character? And I almost always choose the new character.
It's much easier.
Now, it'll also be because I'm getting close to, being capped on characters as far as that goes. But, that's going to prevent me from leveling. But but also just the fact that it'll be, one quarter of the time it'll take, something like that, to get, to at least expertise on all your slots. It's a major difference. It's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Talking about PvP, do we need accuracy in PvP? What do we need to do for min-max? No? Stay in gear?
Yeah, no accuracy. As far as crit, alacrity, and surge is concerned, you basically stay along the same lines as your PvE equivalent. Some people, I think with some classes, I think take a little bit of accuracy, but it's not required by any means.
Nice. So much stuff out there, it's hard to tell which ones to go with.
All right. Now, we had some clarifications on the things that were going to be changed. Firstly, as Chill speculated last show, they have increased the defuse timer for the bombs in Void Star, because as you know, at the moment it's really short, so if you could only interrupt people by direct interrupts, which is a big change since AoE no longer works, AoE damage no longer interrupts, well, that would just be endless set the bomb, defuse, set the bomb, defuse. So now with the 6-second cast time, it is, yeah, it's better, basically, and more doable, so it won't stalemate. So it should be really interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, they have explicitly planned 3 periods on the PTS for people to get together. This is on Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week, later this week. On Thursday, Friday, between 2 and 5 p.m. Pacific, and on Saturday, June 13, between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Pacific. The idea is they want people to queue for regulars, so not ranked, just regular war zones, to try out all of these changes, basically. So as incentives, multiple members of the dev and community team will be playing incognito. So
Nice.
if you play 10 war zones, at least 10, during any of those 3 playtest periods, they're going to grant you some cartel coins as a bonus. They're not saying how much, and they will actually make sure you have participated, so you can't just AFK and get the cartel coins. And they may actually call out specific players who've done exceptional amount of testing. So I already mentioned, Rachel, that you actually had suggested something like this in the past.
Yeah, I actually, back Friday, I made a thread on the PTS forums asking Moscow and the devs if they would do something like this, and I
cool.
even tweeted the link to it and linked Moscow, and he even replied to me on Twitter that they were thinking about it, and then yesterday I saw the thread, so I was like, sweet. So
Brilliant.
it turns out they were actually planning something. So
Good
needless
to
to say,
see.
I will be participating. I'm looking forward to it.
As will many others, I suspect. So that's really nice. Best thing they could have done to try to get people in there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now,
Do they specify if it's for 60 or any level?
they do not specify.
Okay.
So, good question.
I would say 60.
I'd say it
Yeah.
is 60,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would guess so.
Yeah.
Now, something that Greg asked was whether there was a way to get the PvP gear for free if you didn't happen to have Warzone comms. And one thing you can do now, of course, is if you have any number of comms on a character on live, you can just transfer that character over and over again and use the mechanism that they have added, the little lockbox, to actually move comms around to actually send them to funnel them into one character. That's not cheating, it's not an exploit, it's all perfectly legitimate. So if you wanted to build up a whole lot of comms and then buy all the rank gear, or normal and then rank gear on the PTS, you could do that. So just that. And speaking of moving those comms, they have listened to the feedback. It's not live yet, but at the moment the only lockbox you can get is the 99 Warzone comms. You purchase that, it's legacy bound, you can move it to another character and unlock it and you'll get the 99 back, basically. They're going to add 500 and 1,000 versions of that Warzone comms, so you can move it in a larger increment, which makes a lot of sense, because if you're doing the PvP weapon dance, each of those is 900 Warzone comms from memory. Haven't actually done that for a while, but yeah. Speaking of the Warzone weapon dance, unfortunately the bind timers are all going to expire during maintenance for Game Update 3.3. Boo.
Boo indeed.
So clearly they're going to level the playing field, and so yeah. So the only thing you can do really with your comms is buy a lot of med packs, or spend it on gear at the current rate. The expensive rate, because it all gets a lot cheaper with Game Update 3.3, as we talked about last week. Now, they were talking about increasing the comms cap to the new level, the 200,000 whatever Warzone comm level, in Game Update 3.2.2, but if they're doing this whole weapon dance bind thing, then, you know, somehow I don't think they're going to let people do that. So we'll see what happens. They were asking, why is the ratio of ranked Warzone comms to Warzone comms conversion as of Game Update 3.3, or your ranked comms will be converted to Warzone comms? Why is it 1-to-1, given they cost 3-to-1 to buy? And their reasoning was they want to make the conversion automatic, so players don't have to do it manually before or when 3.3 comes out. I'm sure that makes
Just
sense
not
to
fair.
someone.
Just not fair, that's all.
Yeah, I guess.
That's currently how it is on live. If you want to convert your
That's
ranks,
true.
Warzone back to Warzone.
Back to war. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that isn't the main sort of bitch is about we've converted it from 1 to 3, like going up to Warzone, so you want to then take it away. So surely we should go back the way we got there.
Well, that is the reasoning, but they're saying they're not going to do that. So
There was another post this morning, wasn't there? That they'll be looking at it or something. No. Okay.
Yeah, let me just check that so we're not telling any porcupines.
Yeah. Besides, I mean, yes, 3 for 1 is pretty common, but you also get a lot of rank comms along the way through missions and so on. So it's not like people converted all of their
Indeed. Yeah, that's a
comms 3 for 1 to get them up there.
Yeah, speaking of those rewards, they've also said, well, someone was asking about the current weekly missions. They reward weekly and rank comms. So obviously, they're taking the rank comms away. Are they going to increase the regular Warzone comms that you actually get the weeklies and the dailies?
Right.
But yeah, no confirmation of that. They're looking at it. They'll look at the numbers and do something to make them more enticing. All right, so those are the PvP changes. We already talked about what we thought about them. All right, next is the healing changes. Now, we had Louis of Healing SWOTOR on the Galactic Gamers Coalition that we recorded and will also be out Tuesday, US time. So we'd probably recommend listening to that for an in-depth analysis of the changes. But we have some healers with us who happen to do progression and PvP. So we're going to get your specific feedback. So let's just go through them class by class. All three healing advanced classes have got some love on both factions. Firstly, Commandos and Mercs. Now, according to Louis, the playstyle is pretty much the same. If anything, it's a slight buff. And
agreed.
Yeah, so what was already good has got better. So let's start with Rachel. What do you think?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that, and what Keyboard Ninja was saying on the PTS forums as well. It's pretty much the same as what it is now. It's just we got a little buff. One of the heals, Rapid Scan, can crits a lot more now than it used to.
Okay.
So that's about it, really.
So no downside at all.
Not
so
really.
It seems. Okay. What about you, May? Any thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. Merc's in a really, really strong place. It's the only place really that Merc heals kind of fall behind is PvP. So it would have been interesting for them. I think it'll help in PvP, their little buff, because it's more burst healing, and that's kind of what they're overdoing with all these healing changes.
Yeah, that is definitely the overall strategy, it seems. Jeremy, you got any thoughts on healing?
I reckon that's already a strong class, and like it's already been said, they've buffed it, and it's just going to be an awesome class again in PvP, as it is in PvE, so yeah.
Not a lot of downside. Alright, so let's go to Operatives and Scoundrels. So last time they were thinking of doing the hot that you can apply. They were going to make that a single stack, and it was going to be weaker. They've abolished that. It's still the 2 stacks, so they have been nerfed a bit. The big change to note is that diagnostic scan, which is what you can do, is a quick heal and gets your energy back. You can now do it while moving. So that is a big deal. Huge deal.
Yeah.
So for PvP particularly, that's a fantastic change, and also a lot of the movement intensive PvE fights. So that's great. Other than that, there wasn't really anything of note. I mean, the burst has apparently been increased. That's certainly what they were targeting. Louis seemed a bit meh about the changes, was my impression. But, alright, so again, let's go around. May, Rachel, any thoughts?
I remember when I was leveling my scoundrel heals in PvP from 55 to 60, I found it really frustrating in 3.0 how I couldn't move while doing diagnostics again, because I was used to playing a merc and being able to move a lot more. I was like, and I was like, why isn't anything happening? Oh, right, I'm moving. So, I think this will be very good for mobility for scoundrels and operatives. Yeah. Okay.
Especially since they historically were always very mobile.
Yeah, the pre-3.0 they were the most mobile heal spec.
It's fantastic. So maybe it's getting back to that. All right, May?
Yeah, when I tested all of this on my op on the PTS, it played exactly the same. Being able to move while you diagnostic scan is good, and that they cut the healing on diagnostic scan kind of reflects what they're doing with the other classes with their, energy regen thing that kind of heals but doesn't really heal. So yeah,
Right.
it's played, and it is more mobile. It's back to how it used to be since 3.0. I feel like.
Right. Okay. And Jeremy?
I agree as well, but the other bonus is the six set bonus has been redesigned. So you actually get to use nanotech and Coda Cloud an extra 3 seconds earlier. So especially in Monolith, and May, you're probably also aware of that, you do a lot of AoE healing in Monolith. So this will be actually, I'll be able to do more Coda Clouds.
Right.
Yeah.
From this change. It'll be really good.
Okay, cool.
It's like
All
a
right,
sixth
so-
more or something like that. It's quite a change.
Okay. So basically, win for Commanders Mercs, win for Operatives and Scoundrels, and of course we've left the best till last, Sages and Sorks. Yeah, so anyway, they did a round of changes, which we talked about on the last, on the Galactic Games Coalition, and they have got rid of Noble Sacrifice and now doing the Vindicate, which is now a cast, which restores. Original version restored 30 force and did this pissy little worthless heal, and it was about a 2-second cast, a bit less with alacrity. And guys examine this on the PTS, and roughly it was an overall nerf because you had to spend so much time doing this cast to get your energy back, get your force back, and that was the only way to get your force back. Now, since then, they have paid attention to the community and have apparently are planning on a bunch more changes which are not yet live on the PTS. So we do not know how they're going to play out. What they've done is that Vindicate cast, or Consuming Darkness on the other side, will restore 50 force rather than 30, so it's a bit better. The cast time is the same, and it doesn't heal at all now, which is no big deal since it was barely healing
Since
for
it was-
anything.
Yeah, I was doing almost nothing
you
anyway.
can heal that you can cast that on the move, which is great, but that was in the original changes anyway.
That's good.
But yeah, okay. But so you guys are probably the experts on this. So we'll start with Rachel. What do you think?
I actually don't really Sork or Sage heal that
Okay.
much, so you're probably better off asking me. She's the expert.
She is the expert. So May, tell us all about it. What do you think?
So the first iteration that they put on the PTS was basically unplayable. It's really hard to test things when you're healing because there isn't, they don't have heal dummies like they do in
Heal
other
dummies,
games.
yeah.
Yeah, and so they have that in other games, and it's like they can't do that. And so I was like sitting on Tatooine, and I actually kept killing myself because I kept trying to like jump down to places so that I could get my roaming men to heal, so I could see how much it was healing for. But I just kept killing myself.
That's awesome.
But so I went and I just went to like hit on Dreadtooth so that he would just like hit me forever. And it was really unplayable. Even with like full alacrity build, it was still like a full cast of the Consuming Darkness was 1.9 seconds.
Right.
And you were having to do it so much, there was no force positive rotation. So the way that they really listened to KBN and they fixed a lot of the complaints. The fact that Consuming Darkness can be activated instantly is really nice, and that you can kind of spend your stacks, your Force Surge stacks, the way that you want them. I don't think Revivification would have been like a viable spell to even use because the force cost was too great, and you didn't have those stacks anymore to make it instant. So the way that they've changed it is really, really nice. Kind of the numbers that are getting thrown around it, and I agree with them, is that you have a 20% increase on your heals itself. So like Dark Infusion was up by like almost 4,500. I went from like an 11k to 15k Dark Infusion, but your overall heals are about a 15% healing loss. So it's a really interesting throw because you do have more burst healing, but you can't cast as many spells, and I can't wait to test it in PvP. Hopefully they fix it before Thursday so that we'll be able to, actively test
Sure.
Yes.
what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
No one will play Sork. I won't go try and PTS PvP on my Sork because it costs too long to activate that consuming darkness.
So the change they're making, they're saying it now activates instantly and restores 50 force.
Right.
So there's going to be like a 2-second cooldown or something before.
It hasn't said anything like that. And I actually posted it because I was confused about some of the things they said. Force surge stacks up to 3 times, so if you activate it, you get 50 force back. And so they increased the amount of force that you get back from 30. 30 was really low. It didn't actually cover the cost of any of your heals.
Right.
So it's kind of, I don't know.
So it's almost like you have to cast it twice to get one spell,
Exactly.
which is crazy.
And
Now,
they didn't say anything like, go.
I was going to say in PvP, because they have sort of the large gas tank, do you actually have to cast the force regen abilities a lot in PvP, or do you just wait till you're out of combat and use your out of combat heal to get your force back?
Well, the way that Sork is now, you have your main rotation is basically a force positive rotation. So if you resurge and innervate, you gain back and more force than you use. So like your standard rotation is just like you're always topped off on force. It's when you start doing, roaming mends and revivifications and doing those big cast heals, that's when you start losing force. But if you go directly back into innervating, you never run out of force.
I see. So it'd be interesting to see if that changes based on these on the consumption and so on.
I think that they want people to just use it all the time, kind of how Kulto Shot is for mercs. I think that they really want it to be this play style to be the same, where you kind of weave it into your rotation. I think that's how they want people to play it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess in PvE at least you would basically you use your heals, and then basically anytime you're not doing an emergency heal, you're probably thinking about casting that and getting some force back.
Yeah, it's. I would say the way that I'm probably going to play it is after every innervate, I'm probably just going to try and within one spell of every innervate, I'll try to tap just so that you're constantly keeping up with it. Because, for mercs and ops, you have that, oh no, I don't have any energy left type spell. Sorks don't have that, so you're going to have to always know exactly how much energy you have, because if you get in a place where you don't have any, Sork is just absolutely screwed. There's nothing you can do about it. And I want them to put something in so that you can't just tap a million times in a row. They haven't said anything about degenerative effects, so if you tap, you don't have a proc, your force regen goes down and you don't get as much. And so I hope that they add that in, because it's not teaching people to be better to let them have the same lazy healing habits and change the class. But if you want people to learn how to play better, then you have to punish them for playing incorrectly. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Sense.
Pre 3.0, my rotation for Sork heals was basically every 2 or 3 abilities consumption. I had to get something back from all those abilities. It was ingrained into my fingers 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, always at the time, my key combinations. You just had to do it for being good for your resource management.
And one thing I hope they add in is they took out a bunch of the ability highlights for Sork and Sage Healing. We had quite a bit of the ability, basically your whole bar lit up all the time.
Right.
So they took out a bunch of those. I hope they put it back in for Consuming Darkness and Vindicate, because you do have to manage those stacks again. So hopefully they do add that aspect of the ability highlight.
So that was just a technical glitch, probably, as they were redesigning things. Hopefully, that wasn't in.
A lot of things did proc. It's just a matter of
there's that one ability that improves almost all of your other heals.
Exactly.
So they would all light up.
No, you misunderstand. I'm thinking that they took them off by mistake. They didn't actually mean to.
Yes, no,
maybe so.
So I know. I play Sork healer. Don't panic.
This is true.
All right. So any further comments on that? All right. Let's move on. The NSA of SWTOR was how I thought about this. There was a post on the official forums by apparently one of the guys who's on the security team, and what they do is they fight credit farmers, exploiters, and sellers and spammers. He did not reveal his identity because the bad guys who they're going up against are actually organised crime. Whether they're actually in any danger or not, who knows, but you can understand why they don't want to take any risks, because their job is to shut them down, and presumably it's big money for those guys to do this kind of thing. So he talked a bit about how it all works and what they do, and he just had a few requests for the community, and this is the way to avoid false positives, as in to stop being accidentally identified as a bad guy, one of the baddies. For example, don't spam each other with the same message over and over again in a whisper. So it can be funny, and some people do it to be annoying, but you will get squelched, which means the whispers will stop going through. And if you do it enough, you could actually get your account suspended, presumably. Right. Secure your accounts using the authenticator. We already talked about how to do that, though even the one-time password is pretty good. But the bad guys do have ways of getting in, usually by, if you're using the same password on multiple systems, that's terrible, because if they get through into one, they've basically got all the keys to your kingdom, so to speak. I would use a password manager, such as KeePass or LastPass, but whatever. So secure your account. Right-click and report spammers. Apparently it was broken for a while. Who knew? But it is working now. So if you do it, they will go to the right people. So you may have stopped, but go back to doing it, because it will actually do have an effect. And finally, don't buy credits. Just don't. Because the source of those credits is people's whose accounts were stolen, or whatever, or credit cards stolen credit cards were used to purchase stuff, etc., to actually get the credits, which you are purchasing from these guys. So just don't.
Right. The old days where they would just have,
Bots
cheap
doing
labor
farming.
farm or
Chinese
bots
old farmers.
farming. Yeah, that's pretty much done. That's mostly through credit card scams and account hacks and stuff like that.
So you also,
Does anyone know actually someone who's been affected by this, by being hacked and stuff?
Indirectly, not for a long time though.
Yeah, it's been ages since somebody that I know got. We had somebody steal like 100 million credits from our guild bank once, from someone's account getting hacked.
Right.
Was that just a disgruntled guildie?
No, they actually, like, their account, the person had stopped playing, and then the account got hacked like a month later, I think.
Okay.
And the person had no idea about it and couldn't get back in their account. And we actually got everything back, but it was, but that was like 2 years ago. I haven't heard anything in a long time about that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyway, and post on the forums about your complaints and stuff. They do read them. They may not respond, but they are paying attention. So they are doing everything they can to shut down credit spammers. And apparently there's some new trick. They're using emotes now. So the team does know about it. So they will do something to shut that down too. But yeah, all they can do is fight these guys, because they're going to keep coming up with tactics, because it's big money and they'll do whatever they can. But if you didn't buy the stuff, then there would be no business and they would just go away. Alright, one more piece of news. It's outside of SWTOR. It's a new game called Star Wars Uprising, which is a mobile game. Should be coming to iOS and Android. The description reads, play as a bounty hunter, smuggler, and amazingly even a diplomat in a new mobile game set between the original trilogy and Star Wars The Force Awakens. So it is in setting the stage for The Force Awakens. Daniel Erickson, who worked on SWTOR, is on this team. It's by a company called Kabam, who do various games, mobile games. It is, as mentioned, it is an RPG. So there'll be story in this. If Daniel Erickson is involved, you can probably get a somewhat BioWare flavour to it. Yeah, it does sound interesting. You can pre-register now. It hasn't been released yet. Maybe worth a look. Apparently there'll be some reveals about The Force Awakens, or what has happened in between the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens in this game. And it does. All reports so far is it's looking pretty promising. Will be worth a look.
And this will be canon?
It will be canon, as is everything now, except for SWTOR. Sadly.
Yeah.
All right, let's quickly go to community. Firstly, thanks to our latest Utini patrons, Matthew, Matt, and Aaron. We're now up to $79.50 a show. Once we hit 95, that's when we do our Utini documentary. If you're interested, go to patreon.com/UtiniCast or UtiniCast.com/Patreon and sign up. So thank you for everyone who has done that. And that documentary is certainly coming, it would appear. And also thanks to our friend Grim for his recurring donation. We should make him an honorary patron for that. And Shell?
All right, yeah, I wanted to talk about the It's a Trap podcast. Red, our guest of a long time and many in a row, of course, but he has been gone for a while, and that's because he's started up his own Star Wars podcast. It's a Trap, and they've got a few episodes out now. And the general idea is that they're going over all the new canon as it comes out. So every time and each episode is going to be devoted to one piece of the new canon. So if there's a new book out, they will read it, and then shortly after it comes out, they will do a podcast on it. So it's very spoilerific, and they know that. So I've listened to only a couple of them because of that, because I actually, at least for the books, I don't want to necessarily be spoiled. But I did listen, for example, to the one about the recent comic book, or graphic novel if you prefer, that had all the famous blow up on Twitter and all. I won't spoil it for anyone, but there was a bit of a controversy or whatever about it, but it was pretty interesting, and it was a good podcast, and and they're certainly having a lot of fun over there. So check it out if you're interested in the new canon as it comes out. Not just obviously the novels, but they're going to try to hit all the different types as much as they can. I'm not sure how they'll do the video game ones, but that could be interesting. But so it's a Trap podcast. It's out now, and that's what Redna's up to. So congratulations to Redna, and the ones I've listened to have been enjoyable.
All right. Something that came up on the Galactic Gamers Coalition was that Marshall Carr and Will from the Usual Suspects, the Usual podcast, will be at Comic-Con, the upcoming Comic-Con,
right?
And will be attending the community cantina. So if any questions to ask the devs, send them their way. And finally, we have another podcast in our community, another SWOTOR podcast called the Kefis Cast, by TalkCommunity.com, hosted by May, featuring Rachel. So May, why don't you give us the...
This has got to be coincidence, right?
Yeah. So when we knew TorCast was kind of winding down, and Miner and I we're really starting to work with Tor Community, we thought, we should really do a Tor Community podcast, and kind of a lot of people wanted to do it that were there, and so we decided to kind of split it and do a PvE one and a PvP one, and switch back and forth, and we went with Kefis Cast because all hail our overlord, savior and overlord Kefis.
Of course.
Yes. Everyone's favorite Trandoshan boss, yeah.
I was a little bit disappointed, actually, when the new content came out in April or May, that there was no Kefis, real Kefis, no.
He was there in
I just
spirit.
want a golden Kefis. Like, you know how we have like the golden hut? I really feel like we need a golden Kefis.
Yeah, we need a
Prompt
Kefis
decoration.
people.
Or a Kefis statue or of some sort.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the big reveals in Fallen Empire. So you're doing the Kefis Cast bi-weekly, and in between are you going to call the PvP show something else? That will be with you, May, and you, Rachel, and Snave.
Yeah, it's called Better Than Cross Server.
Better than cross server.
Yep.
That is
We'll
awesome.
bring our first one of those next week.
Excellent. So lots and lots to look forward to on talkcommunity.com. Now, is that video only, or are you publishing it as an MP3 as well?
It'll be both. It should be up tomorrow. It'll be video, and it'll be on iTunes, and it'll be as an MP3 on the Tor Community website.
Awesome. We'll certainly link to all of that, but I'm sure you can find all the links directly on talkcommunity.com.
Right.
Doing fantastic work over there, by the way.
Is the PvE one going to be specifically about operations, or are you also going to hit like flashpoints or leveling or anything else?
The PvE one I think is going to be more just like general podcast is what we're going for. Kind of information, more, news. A lot of people do operations that are on that. A lot of people do chem, especially in Hayward. They're really, really, on Jedi Covenant. They do a lot over there. So, and probably talk about Starfighter a little too, because Hayward's very big into Starfighter, and that'll probably be on the PvP one. But it'll be a little bit kind of nicer. Is that the right word, Zam?
Yeah.
Cast will be nicer.
It'll be, children friendly.
Oh, so no explicit tag and
No.
more upbeat.
Yeah.
Is what
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
More of an optimistic, whereas the PvP one will be ragey PvPers, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
R-rated.
Good. That's excellent. All right. Thank you very much. And that's the news.
All right. That brings us to the Force Feedback, where we go over your tweets and emails. And chat room, if you have any questions to ask, we'll be gathering them now to answer once we're done with the feedback. And we had some great feedback about the SWTOR music, which we're going to save up for when Evelyn is next on the show. Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking with him about that. That was really cool.
Yeah, a lot of positive feedback. Really good.
Yeah. It's amazing how many, people who listen to the show, it turns out they have, interests and skills and stuff that sort of dovetail with SWTOR and with, being a guest on the show. It's really awesome. So, all right, on we go. So Minju wrote, I feel like Bad Feeling Podcast is my morning coffee podcast, and OotiniCast is my afternoon news and updates.
A fair
That works.
characterization. Yep.
Yep. And Matt, via Jeremy, I'd pass on a couple of things. First off, the Utini War Room deployments truly are excellent listening. The last episode with Snave and Busy especially so.
Yeah,
I'd agree
definitely.
with that. Yep.
Turg has done wonders with that. It's really turning out well.
Yeah, he's he's hitting that one out of the park, as they say. In terms of questions for the guys, I just saw a tweet from SWTOR about bounty contract payout burning a hole in your pocket, then prepare for Nashada nightlife event starting June 9. What do they think constitutes a payout? Completed bounty contracts or credits? Hang on, isn't June 9th today? Guess I'll find out tonight. I'm pretty sure that means the credits.
Yep, most definitely.
Yeah.
And
You would
tell
need
them
a
to
bit
keep
more
up.
than just doing bounty contract week.
Yeah. And Matt says, tell them to keep up the good work. It's by far the best SWTOR podcast available, and perhaps they should think of running an Australian Utini Cantina. That would be so fun.
Definitely
Yeah.
has been on the cards. We certainly like to be involved with that. And, well, upcoming child allowing. The timing for that.
You heard it first, guys. Children, twins.
No twins.
Not
Yeah, I
twins.
vote for names, just saying.
Yeah, let's see. Chad wrote as a follow-up, on the mission where I need to go and check the cord. Oh, this is where he couldn't find the proper things because he hadn't played the character in a long time and it seemed to be bugged.
Yep.
I find the body and I click it, but the discussion by the NPC cuts off before it completes the conversation, and it gives no indication that it advances the story. The quest is called Finding Vengeance. The bounty hunter, the tune who is trying to locate won't finish this conversation with my character and is getting cut off, not letting me move on with the quest.
Now, I found that there was a post on the forums about this. Someone else said this already, but I tried it today and it worked. Just press the spacebar a few times in the first conversation when you first reach the bounty hunter's coordinates and search the body as soon as it starts. After that, the rest of the mission is fine. So Chad did actually try this workaround, and it worked great. Now, he had
good.
another problem with he was getting stuck towards the end of Hoth with some guys who weren't respawning. He did reset, and that one worked as well. So hopefully Chad should be progressing nicely.
Good old reset. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. But this one was buggy, so you had to use this particular workaround to get through it.
Right. All right, and Nipton, one of the friends of the show, Nothing of Old Republic Radio and the Old Republic dads on the Shadowlands. Hey, Tio and Chill. After hearing Tio's numbers of total hours played, I figure I'd add all of mine up. Something tells me I'm going to have to do this too. I would never show my wife this data, of course. Yeah, let's see. Total hours. The Sentinel is the heroic 2,191 hours on that one character.
That's a lot of hours.
Main tune and main rating tune pre-hard mode 3.0. Wow. And then several with 400, 200, and total of 4833. You got me beat, Tio. He's meaning Tio. And maybe once your little one arrives, I can catch up.
Most likely, yes.
Very possible, yes. Early access was 12, 13, 11. That's 1,271 days between then and now. So about 3.8 hours a day. Wow.
Damn. Which
That
means
is-
my average would be a little bit higher than that. Oh boy.
Yeah, well, I remember though that Tio, that especially like the first year, you were doing a lot of like doing things on the computer, but like having crew skills going on in the background and
Yeah, that's
just
true.
doing stuff like that. So it wasn't like you were
So
like
it's not so insane. That's great.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've done a lot of that sort of thing, that sort of backgrounding.
I was cheating, apparently. Is that what you're saying?
You're just padding your numbers. That's all I'm saying. Let's see, Volk, who has us quite the stream on YouTube and so on.
Absolutely.
Your character and / played sheet made me count mine. I did Volk and decided not to go for the other 17. He has 110 days, 7 hours, about 2,650 hours. Yeah,
Oh,
I can
boy.
see why that would make you not want to go for the other
Yeah.
17.
I just
That's
checked and I have 193 days on my main.
Oh my god.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's impressive. As an alcoholic, I guarantee I'm nowhere near that for one character.
That's 4,632 hours, mate.
Oh,
One
don't tell me
character?
that. I only play the one character, though, really. So that's all my alts in one.
Damn.
Yep.
That's amazing. All right. Let's see. Webby wrote in 2 topics and questions. 1, if the opportunity arises, can you see if there's any scope in the future for gear, armor, and weapons transmogrifying, like the WoW transmog, unless I'm missing something and it already exists?
Yeah, I guess he means the outfit designer.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know what transmog because I don't play WoW, so
Outfit designer, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically,
the-
you can.
Oh, okay.
It
The
lets you take.
mechanism in WoW is
Go
far
ahead.
clumsier in that you actually have to take a piece of gear and then you can sort of suck the appearance of something else for that specific piece of gear. Now, with the outfit designer, they've gone with a similar system in other games like Lotro, where it's like a wardrobe where you've got a completely different character model which you can put gear on, and that's what everyone sees. So your real gear is what you're wearing, but then you can choose a different outfit, and you can have multiple outfits which you can just quickly switch between. Weapons are not currently a part of it. They may be planning to add it. That was an advantage with Transmog and WoW. You could actually do your weapons too, change their appearance
Right.
with certain constraints. But yeah, at the moment, outfit designer, is far, far better.
Yep. Let's see. And Webby suggests, unlike WoW, where you can only transmog leather with leather, plate items with plate, and 200 weapons with 200 weapons, and so on, could we have it so that if you wear light armor, but you prefer the look of a heavy armor set, we can transmog the light look to the heavy?
which is what we just basically said.
Well, you actually can, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
Did they take off the... I thought you still had to be able to wear it. Or
No,
did they
I
remove
don't
the-
think so.
No,
I think
no,
they
no.
did.
Yeah. Or even if they kept that in, if you wear heavy armor, then you could still always go lighter. I guess you're kind of screwed if you're a sorcerer wanting to look like a trooper, maybe. But there's also cartel market items and so on that are adaptive that look very much like heavy armor. So there's always a way around it.
Now, as far
I do
as
like
when...
his next point, though,
Which one?
where
About-
you could try and copy an imp design onto a pub character
Yeah.
or a pub character onto an imp design. That would be really good.
It
That
would
would
be
be cool.
nice. At the moment, you cannot. some piece of gear will just look differently depending on which faction you wear it, and the outfit designer just reflects that. So,
Like the
Right.
Kalumi Sork set looks heaps really, really good. I still have a set of that somewhere. I've got to put it on.
admittedly, for a very long time now, all the gear's been looked identical between the factions. I don't believe there are any ones that are actually different on each side since, well, I don't know, a long time. Before 2.0, I think, was when it was the last time it was anything like that.
Okay. And Andrew in the chat room is confirming that there's no armor type restriction on outfit designer, just class and level.
Thank you, Andrew. Actually, I do vaguely remember that. Yep. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Also, if you have a one-handed lightsaber, transmogging to a two-handed and vice versa,
As we
stats
talked
don't have
about,
to change.
no way
They
to do
won't
that
do that.
at the moment.
Yeah, because at some point you start screwing around with like being able to tell what kind of class you're playing, and it also is going to mess up the animations and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Or,
right. Yeah.
True.
They don't want bounty hunters running around with lightsabers and stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Probably not. No. All right.
Yep. And and the second question is a bit simpler. Is there any way to get the cross-hill lightsaber as seen in the latest Star Wars trailer, or are they going to wait till after the December release before we see that? Yeah, as far as I know, there's no cross-hilt. I haven't seen one yet. but
No. Not yet.
Not yet.
You can...
Yes, not yet.
Along with the ball droid,
Surely
I'm sure
cut
it'll
out.
all turn up. Yep.
I want
Right,
that
exactly.
as a.
It,
I want him as a
That-
pet so bad. A pet.
Yeah, the ball droid. Yep.
Ball droid.
yeah,
Yeah.
BB-8.
it's got to show up, right?
BB-8.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Boshu of the Coven of the Phoenix Guild on the Shadowlands wrote, has there been any news on Warzone decorations with the upcoming 3.3 changes? There are several decorations such as the custom hut ball stand that cost 2018 Warzone comms and 2018 rank comms. If rank comms are going away, are these decorations becoming a limited time only kind of thing? Good question.
Don't know. Has anyone checked the vendors? Because you should be able to check this right now. I would guess, and we'll see,
yeah, on the
that the
PTS.
prices will just be adjusted accordingly.
Yeah,
would hope
I
so.
think, yeah, like the custom hotball stand just costs 2,800 Warzone comms. I
There you
did
go.
check this on the PTS, yeah.
Excellent.
So they didn't even increase it yet, at least not yet.
No, they didn't change the price, I just got rid of the ranked com cost and it just costs 2018 Warzone comms.
So,
It's a lot cheaper.
all right, so if you want to buy any of this stuff, don't buy it now. Anything you do, just wait, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Tio, a few episodes back, I heard you say that you're running the GTX 760 graphics card. This is the same one that I run. Have you experienced any crashes to desktop where you lose your picture while running SWTOR while using this card? Because I sure do. And if so, how did you get the issue fixed?
I've never experienced anything like that, so I don't know. I'm always running the latest driver from NVIDIA, so that's about the only thing I could suggest. Make sure that's up to date. If it is up to date, you may have a hardware issue with your card, because
the only
GTX
thing else-
760 should be fine.
Temperature was the only other thing I was thinking, Tio.
Could be running hot. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that's another point.
Thermal paste might be off the fan or something. I don't know. Just guessing.
Worth a look at, or
Alright.
even just blowing the dust out of it,
Yeah.
because those guys do tend to accumulate dust a bit.
Right. Daskar wrote, regarding buying endgame gear runs. I'm not sure if you've covered this in the past or not, but I found this post on the Harbinger server forums for a guild that is selling runs through story mode endgame content, and I'm finding it tempting. I started the game at launch, and at that time was living on the east coast of the US and started raiding with Karagas Palace and EV. I love to raid and I love to tank, but I found myself not doing much more than acting as an alt factory since the 2.0 time frame when I moved to the most inconvenient time zone ever. Talk to Tio about that first before you try to make that claim. The idea appeals to me since I fall in a category of player that I'm sure many find themselves. I'm a transfer from Burgeoning Colony and I live in Hawaii at the moment, a time zone that does not allow me to raid with many of the main West Coast raiding guilds because I'm still at work when many alt runs start, and the Australia guilds are too far away since I would need to raid in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and that does not fit in my work schedule. What I found is a guild that fits my schedule, that they're usually already working on hard modes and expect me to come fully geared. I possess the skill level and mentality for raids, but I'm usually lacking in the gear department since I'm usually resigned to maxing out comms gear. So 5 million credits for a run through TOS or Ravagers, where I get all the gear I need to raid at a higher level. When I do eventually find a place that fits with my schedule, seems like a small price to pay to keep my gear up to date. I'd be interested in hearing the Utini take on guilds that are selling gear runs, and if your opinion it takes away from the accomplishment of getting that content completed. And I love the Utini podcast and look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Well, it's a ticklish issue, I would say, for sure.
I say there's nothing wrong with it, really. It's if you want to keep on just doing your normal story stuff, then you might be a bit off on it. But if you just want to get to end game and raid, to me, I have no personal preference.
Right.
Go for it.
Now, do we know if this is against terms of service at all?
I
No,
can't imagine
it's-
it would be. No, it's completely
It's
fine.
always been doing it for
As long as it's in
ages and
credits.
ages.
As long as
It's
it's
been a thing
entirely
for a
in
long
credits
time.
and not in money.
Yeah.
That's
we
fine.
sell wings from DF Nightmare all the time for like 20 million credits. So, and everybody's
Remember.
been doing that for a really long time.
Yeah, the groups are doing the content perfectly legitimately. It's just if one guy happens to want to be paid to be carried to get the
Right.
rewards,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
So be it.
nothing wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing
And
wrong
I
with
feel
this
like
at all.
6 months after the fact, as far as like the prestige of killing it, I don't think that matters anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially after so many
Right.
people just killed stuff when it didn't matter.
Mhm.
They just got the kills. So,
Yeah. Just doing it to get the gear, and he has a perfectly legitimate reason to do it this way. Why
I
not?
was going to say, the reasoning is especially good in this case. It's not just, I have the credits and I'd like to have the in-game gear. He's got more to it than that.
You gotta think of it this way as well. His guild is going to make an investment into him to do hard mode raids. So even they might come to the party to a certain degree as well, if they figure that he's worth it or not.
Yeah.
Just something
He
to
seems to
add.
be having
They
trouble getting in the
should.
door.
If they're doing hard mode, you should just be able to carry somebody through story mode just to get. If you're doing hard mode raids, then story mode's on farm, and it shouldn't be that hard. It'll take you an hour and a half to get through both places
Yeah.
Agreed.
and give that person gear. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, it does sound like he's trying to get his foot in the door first, which might make it hard. But yeah, I agree though that if we've done it even though we're only got a few hard mode bosses down, we've already done raid runs to gear up alts and stuff.
hmm
Yeah, it's easy enough to do. So yeah, no real issues with it. It is a little unusual. Sure, it probably will feel weird when you do it, but yeah, apparently no reason not to do it. Let's see. And Jeremy, let's see. We wanted to talk about some ideas for SWTOR, huh?
Yeah, I actually came up with this idea, I think, about a day or two before they announced the PvP one. But I was thinking, to get Legacy back into the game, obviously we needed to up our Legacy cap, because I can pretty much guarantee, a good 50 to 60% of the population is already at Legacy 50.
Well, I'm sure they would have different numbers for you.
Well, if you've been doing it from launch, you definitely hit 50, probably
Yeah.
a year to two in. It didn't take that long at all. So the first bit to my little thing would be, all right, we need Legacy 60, right? And to do that, what it is a Legacy box. So this box, you would be able to put anything you want into it. So any bind on pickup, bind on use, etc. Put it in and transfer it to anyone else in your Legacy. This would be absolutely awesome for all those earpieces, implants, and all those things you just get from once you have something on farm, then you can actually put them to other characters without having to just maybe be carried through in your guild runs, etc. You can have a tune sort of halfway there, just ready to go. So it also
Yeah,
helps with war zones and not ranked war zones anymore, but all those other items as well. But they've already got that.
They've sort of got that, taken care of. But it's clear that you're thinking along the same lines that they are, and it makes sense at least when you're maxed out at Legacy 50. You've already got a bunch of vaults. You've already put a lot of time into the game, so yeah, it's not like
And,
you haven't seen the content before.
That's right. And, with when you're at Legacy 50, you're not going to really, well, you can't. The best way to get more Legacy is to actually do more alts, which is what's encouraged in this game. So the more alts you have, the faster you get with your Legacy.
Right. And Dark Edge Gaming in the chat room suggesting just let us put the bind-on pickups into the Legacy Bank, and that would solve most of the problems.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
We know that they've often had they've put thought into what additional bonuses they should give Legacy level 50 and so on. They have a hard time coming up with anything that they've been really happy with. Yeah.
Given the direction they're going, like being able to move PvP comms so easily between characters, letting you put bind on pickup items into your legacy bank, sort of implicitly making them bind a legacy, may just become a thing. Moving comms officially between characters, other kinds of comms officially may become a thing as well. It just seems to be the general direction. So your legacy truly does become kind of like a bigger family where you can just move stuff easily.
Because the best thing about Legacy at the moment is besides the Legacy bank, is all the extra abilities when you're leveling, when you use your heroic moment. So, you can do your force choke when you're a smuggler, that kind of stuff. That's probably the best part that I think for Legacy at the moment, for me.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts? All right.
Okay.
I guess all we have left is Snape's question.
Yeah, Snave had a question. So, if no one cares about gear, what about everyone who crapped the bed about the main hand dropping? So I assume this is the new one from the hard mode world boss?
Well, at least they've made
not
it
world boss,
now.
but-
With several rounds of changes to Colossal Monolith, it's actually a little more challenging to get your 204 main hand. May, right now, where would you characterize it compared to Revan? Is Revan still a much harder fight?
Much harder. Monolith is just annoying. Revan actually, takes a lot more coordination of people doing stuff. Yeah.
So Revan is obviously the other source of a main hand, and that's only 198. So I guess everyone got upset because that doesn't make any sense. Why add an easier fight, even if it's harder than it was, but it's still relatively easy compared to the other encounter where you would get a lesser main hand. Of course, you do it at least once, so you can do it, but with all those 204 main hands, even Revan becomes that much easier, even though it is mechanics heavy, as I understand it.
I managed to get a tanking Merc one, or tanking Merc 204 main hand, so that's helped us out a little bit too. So that's usable against Fortunes.
Yep.
I think one of the other problems with Monolith is that it really is it's the only content that I think we're going to see until November, and so I think that's actually what upset people more than just the the main hand itself.
Let's see, we're getting Game Update 3.3, 21 July. Absolutely no Operation content in that. No hint of anything. There was something at a recent cantina, the Anaheim Cantina, which I heard indirectly through Exile, that they aren't even working on any Operation content right now. So I think
it's all
it could be
Stronghold.
right. Yeah.
No Nightmare mode in the works. Most likely they're not even going to do Nightmare mode. And Eric even said on the 3.3 live stream, people said, what about PvE content? People are asking the normal, what about PvP content? What about PvE content? And he really did say for PvE, well, we did just, release the Monolith boss, so there's that PvE content that you guys are asking for. So
Yeah.
I think the difference between their definition of content and our definition of content, I think it's the sort of sore point. So their definition is more about, at least for the hardcore raiders, their definition is, well, we're giving you content. We've given you Taruga. We're going to give you the Yavin Stronghold. We've given you Monolith,
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I've talked about before, the Zyre stuff is fantastic, but you get through it so quick, it's done. 2 hours, done. So it's not exactly repeatable. You can only do it so many times on your ults before you want to stab yourself. So, yeah. They did say there would be less time between operations, So between the Dreads and Shadow of Revan stuff, there was, 14 months? So if it does come out in November or December, it's about 12 months between operations. I guess that's an improvement.
It is less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, unless you do count Monolith as... Well, why would you? Yeah. All right, we're being positive, right?
We are, most definitely.
We are.
Sure.
All right. Quick, tell us something positive.
I'm awesome. There you go.
I do like the mechanics of Monolith. The Monolith mechanics are pretty good. The Simon Says stuff is kind of fun.
It is.
So that's
It is.
good on
Unless
When
you
it
them
get
for
doesn't
that.
bug.
Yeah, unless you get that edge one where no one can
Yeah.
go in it and go,
Well, that's just
that's a wipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wipe.
All right, let's finish the show with something I asked during the Galactic Gamers Coalition podcast. What's the most outlandish rumor you've heard about June 15 announcement, the Fallen Empire, yada yada, and it was suggested Nightmare Operations was one of the most outlandish thing that was people had heard. But aside from that, any thoughts? What could they announce? Or in fact, what are you expecting on June 15? Let's start with Rachel.
I'm just expecting them to announce the next lot of story content, basically. Maybe
As an
hints.
expansion with levels? Or
No, probably. I don't know. I'm just thinking they'll talk about this next lot of story content. Maybe they'll tease the next expansion or something like that. But I'm not really expecting much on the PvP front or anything because we've already had that. So maybe if we're lucky, they'll hint at an operation, but I doubt that. Yeah.
in the 2 minutes will be allocated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll just
Yeah.
be the Emperor's doing this thing and you have to go do this, probably. I don't know.
With a fantastic trailer or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay. What about you, May? What are you expecting?
I think we're going to get a slow pan trailer of the Emperor. So like how the Revan one was, where it like started at the bottom and like went up. I think we're going to get the exact same thing, but it's going to be like left to right, and it's going to be the Emperor. With Stronghold decorations in the background. Sorry, I should have clarified. That's what I think it's going to be.
Right. Okay. So do you expect an expansion announcement? Will we get... Is that what Fallen Empire is?
Yeah. I think that Fallen Empire is going to be like a small expansion with like a 2-planet story, and then I think they're going to tease a December Shadow of Revan's size expansion.
Oh, okay. So Fallen Empire before December. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So something like you think Fallen Emperor might be something like Oricon?
Yeah,
Or-
like a mini expansion
Okay.
without any operations, but just
Probably
like
without
a
an
small
operation.
story.
And no
Right.
new levels.
So, yeah, another Zayas.
Maybe more like Xyos then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jeremy. What's your take?
Sword Point 2 on Frostbite? No?
I'd love to hear that. That would be awesome.
Sure.
Either
Star Wars
Sword-
MOBA. Yep.
yeah.
I think there will be a tie-in with the movie, maybe a little bit of an announcement or teaser that way. I don't know what that would be, but I think on the same lines as May, there'll be an Oricon sort of size deal with no ops, just basically a continuation to try to get to the pre-story for the killing of the Emperor. Yeah.
All right. Dark Edge Gaming says, coming next patch, hard mode cartel market. Oh, God, yeah. Or the return of Malgus. Snape says Zoist 2.0. What would that mean? Any other thoughts? What about you, Chill? What's your...
Yeah, a new operation with two-headed Malgus and Kefith boss. That'd be awesome.
Oh, it would be. All right. Yeah, and finally, I'm expecting expansion announcement at the end of the year for another 5 levels. That'll be Fallen Empire or something. Who knows? It'll be. I'm sure it'll be really cool.
That's probably the
An
most
operational
likely
too.
thing.
And
Yeah.
a Star Wars MOBA.
You're still talking about the MOBA, even
It's
though you
just
don't even want it.
inevitable. It really is. They want to cash in on the whole League of Legends thing, so...
Yep.
Hots
All right.
now. Hots.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Heroes of the Storm is the thing, and May is certainly playing a lot of it. So would you recommend that people who are into LoL, etc., get into Switch to HOTS?
If you casually played League and you're looking for like a not so toxic but League-like environment that's more like PvE minded, then yeah, there's a lot of PvE in HOTS.
All right. Okay. That's fair. All right. Anything else, or shall we wrap it?
I think that's it. All right, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our...
Oh, does anyone want to do one? In Toonie Rage?
All right, hang on. Ready? Attorney Rage!
Guild on the Empire side, do/C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then ask for the quiz that lets us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @UtiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, utinicast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live, generally every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to utinicast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you to Jeremy, May, and Rachel, aka Zamzam. And I look forward to hearing your podcast.
And we'll see you next week. Come on, Jill.
Okay, I thought they were going to say something. I know I was talking fast. I didn't know I was talking that fast.
They will fall asleep.
Thanks for coming, guys, and I look forward to hearing your podcast.
Thanks so much for having us, and
Yeah.
we'll make sure to get you the info when it is out.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, everyone, just keep recording for a second. Chat room, thank you for watching. We will be back next week on our regular day, which is Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, or whatever that is for Thursday, 9:30 a.m. for us in Australia. Next week, obviously, is a big announcement on Monday, June 15. So
Yeah, it's coming.
that's what
Yeah.
we'll be talking about. Haven't worked out who our guest will be, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. And that's it. Thank you all for listening or watching or whatever. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Stopping
guys.
the broadcast.